We're going to start with Polo G, who um, I think this is probably the best album we're going to talk about today. And that's not to say that the other album is bad necessarily, but that I think Polo G as an artist is just uh, uh, on the precipice of superstardom, really. If he's not there already, he's on that trajectory. This album, Hall of Fame, is projected to be the number one album in the selling album in the country after this weekend. And going up against someone like Migos, uh, who have an established and very anticipated album coming out, just says a lot about him. And though I think this album is a little bloated and there's certainly some filler tracks, I think there's still a lot to like on Hall of Fame. How did you feel after this listen?
Yeah, no, I've just been a big fan of Polo G. Like a lot of people, the past few years, this is his third album in 3 years, but I think there's just been steady stepping stones, steady progress made as a talent. And at this point, like you said, he's seeing that success. This is projected to beat out Migos for the number one album by like 30, 40,000 units, a pretty sizable, lead there. And it's also doubling his first week sales from just last year. And I think the big reason it would be that Rap Star, one of the lead singles,
Mm,
kind of surprisingly went number one and actually
yeah,
stayed number one for 2 weeks, which is he's the
it's a good
only
track.
male soloist to do that this year. Like I don't think anyone would have picked that, no matter how high you were on Polo G. And we talked about this last year with its album The Goat, an album I really loved. I had Wishing for a Hero on my top 10 songs of 2020. But Polo G's, I think his strength is just that he makes really palatable, accessible music, which explains why a song like Rap Star, which I think is fine, but I still think there was like 6 or 7 songs on last year's The Goat that are better than Rap Star. But the Rap Star is so accessible, so palatable, but still like has that rap DNA.
Mhm.
Like he kind of dabbles in the softer melodic stuff, but he doesn't fully commit to singing the way someone like Rod Wave or Little TJ does. He really threads the needle, and I think uh pleasing to all people kind of way that a song that makes a song like Rap Star succeed. And this album, like you said, 20 tracks. It's too many tracks. Even the Goat last year had too many tracks, but there's still a lot of really good moments. And I think Polo G is just a rapper that people should be investing in. He's clearly the most exciting person in Chicago right now. Apologies, Little
Mhm.
Dirk, but Polo G clearly is just operating at the highest level these days. We'd love chance to get back to this point. We'll see what happens with that follow up to the big day. But for now, it's clearly Polo G's title to lose.
Yeah, and I think so. I was telling you before we started, I listened to this twice through. And the second time, I will say I was a little bit more choppy, like kind of jumping around or skipping through. And I found myself, I think, when I was skipping through, feeling like some of the songs were a little bit samey. And I think when you have this many tracks, it's kind of hard to not have some of the tracks start to feel a bit similar, or at least having the same DNA, but certain ones really stood out to me. And actually, one of the songs that I think stood out to me most and made me most excited for Polo G as an artist, and not just being an artist who was very popular, but also really, really strong artist, is the last track, Bloody Canvas. Because I felt like not only does that kind of bring a little bit different of Apology. I mean, I think he always tries to go for a little bit of the storytelling, but that one really feels like he's like bringing this energy that's over this like toned down piano driven beat, and it's just him, like it's just his total confidence and bravado like driving that track. The production kind of picks up around the second half and you get some more like heavy drums coming in, but really I feel like that's just him like carrying that totally by what he's saying and what how he's saying it. And I felt like that was
Mhm.
a really exciting track for me on it. Any thoughts on Bloody Canvas? Did that one stand out to you at all?
Yeah, well, I think lyrically it definitely points to his roots in Chicago drill, something that
Mhm.
came up before he was really a rapper, but definitely shaped his thing. He's always paid a lot of homage to G Herbo, who's featured on this album, for that same kind of reason. But yeah, I mean, a song like that, a song like Wishing for a Hero from last year,
Mhm.
uh, his storytelling ability, I think, has been proven at this point, and that's been a hallmark of drill music. And I think because Polo G sticks to more, like I said, palatable, accessible vocal delivery, it's even a more accessible version of that kind of grimness that we associate with drill lyrics.
Mhm.
So yeah, clearly a highlight.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you really described that really well. And even the track before it with Pop Smoke and 504 and Clueless, I thought that was another standout for me. And, um, we talk about these posthumous
Mhm.
features and tracks, and sometimes they can not really come out that great or sound a bit overproduced, but this one sounds pretty authentic, I thought,
Yeah,
and just makes you really really sad for what could have been with Pop. It's
totally.
crazy because all three of them together on this track sound awesome.
Yeah, so that song actually had leaked under the name Woo Shit, which is, obviously a refrain in the
Hmm.
song. Woo Shit had leaked before the Pop posthumous album had come out. A lot of people, including myself, were really hoping we would get that on that album or the deluxe version of that album, just so that it would be more widely available to everyone. Of course, many people, perhaps myself, already have that song available to them, but now it's available to everyone in a more legal manner. And new name, Clueless. But yeah, happy to hear that song. Like I didn't even like notice it like on the track list because again, there's 20 damn songs on this album. But like, yeah, I should have known. Like, oh wait, Polo Pop and 5 I wonder if that's Woo Shit. Then I listened to it and I immediately perked up. I'm like, oh fuck yeah, here it is. Let's go. So yeah, that definitely feels like an authentic uh posthumous cut, right? Like it's a
Hmm.
full-fledged pop feature.
For sure. Um, what other tracks out of these other 18 ones
Mhm.
stood out to you, and which ones maybe weren't highlights
Yeah,
for you?
I liked Go Part 1 with G Herbo. Just that first verse from Polo, I think, is just like hard as fuck. Like he has like some really great lines, like the Killicam reference. I
Hmm.
love that one. I really liked Epidemic, the intro track,
Yeah.
painting pictures. Boom, like the vocal inflection on the hook for Boom, where it's like double vocals, like to like kind of like accentuate Polo being like boom, it's like doubled up. Just like a
Hmm.
simple touch, but like I really like that. Um, I thought Zooted Freestyle was pretty good. Party Life was actually kind of cool too because I think Baby, which is an interesting parallel because he is so popular and so mainstream, but he also, I think he has a more gruff delivery than Polo
Hmm.
G, even though they both are not afraid
Totally.
to speak their mind. It was kind of cool to see that contrast on the same song. I'm not sure if that's their first collab. It kind of feels like it was. Um, it's funny
With
because
Party
like,
Life, oh, sorry. Before you go on,
no good.
the baby just comes in and he's so strong on that track. It
Mhm.
almost like I was listening to it in the background doing work today, and it like really perked up and caught my attention just how strong he is on that. But I agree, they have a nice contrast. I think makes
Right.
that a standout for sure. Sorry, go ahead with
You
where
know,
you're going.
funny enough, I'm actually pretty down on like all the singles on this album. Like I think again, I think Rap Star's totally okay. Like the hook, like the in a minute part, like I guess is pretty
Mhm.
catchy, but like it's okay. And then Gang Gang, Lil Wayne, and GNF, okay, okay, okay. Like, I think those songs are like all totally average, and it's just funny to actually see all these album cuts we've been mentioning clearly stick around at least for us a lot more. Um, but yeah, I think that's the deal with Polo G at this point is that he is really talented and he can make a lot of good songs. And yeah, he hasn't made a classic album yet. He's still honing in on that. But like, if you're betting on like a rapper under 25 to make like a
Mhm.
pantheon album, he has to be towards the top of the list at this point, just because he's demonstrated a lot of great qualities already. 3 albums in.
Yeah, I mean, who even else would be in that conversation at this point?
Yeah, in terms of young guys, I don't know. I like, and there's tons of young guys I like, but I don't think of them the same way, which is
Yeah,
totally fine. It's not a knock on any of those other rappers, but I think there's just seems to be an ambition to Polo G that we're seeing manifest. Again, like you're sampling the way it is on your
right.
second album and also nailing it.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people aren't going to do that.
No, for sure. Yeah, I mean, he's an exciting artist for undoubtedly, and I think even though at times I felt like this was a bit samey and a little bloated, I think uh, get this much quality out of it is a really good sign. And it's also, I think, good that we like some of the tracks that um, he kind of is just carrying on his own, and then also he can collab and kind of
Right.
work with people really well. It's a really good base for him. So check out Hall of Fame.